What's going on, y'all? It's Rob with Cinema Bullies. I'm gonna talk about something that I got into a short conversation with Robert Lee, owner of the Bully Market, about the term top shelf. When these people talk about these, top producing dogs and, whatever you guys want to call them, the goats or the bad bitches, or whatever terminology you want to use to explain phenomenal dogs, or once in a lifetime dogs that are produced. That word top shelf is used very loosely in this community. You can't label a dog a top shelf goat, top producer, without having the proof of it doing what you are saying. I've heard, just because, dog's grand champion doesn't mean he's going to be a producer. Just because the dog has wow factors and is an extremely bully dog doesn't mean it's going to be a producer. And that's what people fail to realize. Some of the best dogs in the whole game, when it comes to wins, cannot produce themselves or outproduce themselves. They just can't do it. Certain dogs have outproduced themselves. Now, is that because of how the dog was bred, or is it the bitches that the dog was bred to, or the studs the bitch was bred to? There's a lot of factors that people fail, to realize. And, it's annoying seeing it, people talking other people's dogs up or talking their own dogs up. I mean, I get it's marketing, it's promoting, but, you're selling pipe dreams to newbies that have no idea what they're getting, and they think they're getting one of these crazy extreme bully dogs that they're paying, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10,000 for, and then the dog looks like a pit bull. I mean, I'd be pissed if I paid, more than $5,000 for a dog and a dog looked like a terrier, style of dog. So the word top shelf, they got to elaborate more, on what makes a dog a top shelf, or, number one producer, or, whatever the term you want to use to try to, hype your dog up. Because I'll call bullshit on all your dogs. I don't give a fuck who you are. There's only very few dogs that can produce and consistently with few litters. I'm not talking about these dogs that got hundreds of litters on the ground, or whatever the case is. They have thousands of registered puppies underneath their name. To me, those dogs are not top producers. 1 out of every 100 dogs is a nice dog. That's not a top producer. I would say if you had I would say 40 to 60%, successful, breeding program when it came to producing a certain look, or, champion, grand champion dogs, then I would say the dog's a top producing dog. A wow factor dog, 1 out of every 100 litters, to me, that's not a top producer. That's a dog that's just overbred because of a name and a hype and a promotion scheme. That's bullshit. I mean, doesn't make sense. Dogs that can produce consistently and get that look and that extra bully style dog usually are line bred dogs, period. Line bred or inbred. You look at Muscle Tone's bloodlines, like look at all his dogs are line bred and inbred, period. Every single one of his top producing, or not top producing, but big name studs that he has under his belt, all line bred inbred dogs. There's muscle tone, muscle tone, muscle tone, muscle tone. Every dog in that dog's pedigree going back 4, 5, 6 generations. And you know, Robert Lee brought up the fact that he was breeding these dogs for 15 years. Okay. So 15 years. That's a lot of time to invest into breeding dogs. And I mean, I don't know his consistency of his program, but I haven't seen dogs, you know, from Robert Lee in a long time. But back then, you know, back when the bully stuff started, he had some nice dogs. I never looked into his pedigrees. I don't know the full extent of his breeding program, but I know I have some of his blood in my yard. You know, I have lock and load and stuff like that in some of my dog's lineage going back, you know, 5 generations or so. And, you know, using that word top shelf, you know, just because a dog's top shelf doesn't mean, well, in your terms, is a top shelf dog. It doesn't mean it's going to produce shit. The more I sit back and look and watch, the more I'm just disgusted by how this community really is. It's all seems to me just a lot of selling pipe dreams, unrealistic dreams to people that love dogs, that, you know, appreciate and admire the bully breed. But, you know, everyone's trying to create their own vision and make these dogs into something else, and hyping up their dogs that aren't worth the hype. You know, I'm not going to say I've produced any hype dogs, because I haven't. I've had about 5-6 years in this breeding, and, you know, circumstances got me out of it for the moment, but I still have puppies on the ground that are all, I think, between 5 and a year old, that people haven't even seen yet. And I can tell you right now that my puppies, they look better than what these top producing dogs are producing. So, and I got a lot of old school blood, and I've been line breeding it and inbreeding it for the past 2 years. And I'm producing the older style dogs that are healthy and have, you know, exaggerated features, but not over exaggerated features, but they look good and they're functional. My dogs can actually run, and their hips don't go to the side, and they don't have, you know, I call them sidewinders. And you know, they don't have heart issues, they don't got hip dysplasia, they don't have any real problems, even barely. I mean, none of them really have allergies either. I kind of think I got past that by going back to the older blood, because I feel like a lot of this newer stuff from that bulldog blood that it has, I guess, brings in the allergy factor, because I know a lot of these dogs suffer from seasonal allergies, and, you know, chicken allergy, and, you know, chicken meal and all that kind of stuff, and they don't like it. So, you know, when you guys are breeding to some top shelf dogs, or, you know, top producing dogs, make sure you guys look how they're bred, and look how your female or male is bred, to see if the blood even matches up somewhat. Because when you breed to a dog that's a top producer, you spend, you know, $5,000 on a stud credit, use it, and then you breed it to a bitch that has nothing in common with that stud, you're going to get all terrier style dogs. You're not going to get any bully. You might get 1 or 2 bullier dogs, but they're still not going to be what your vision of what you wanted is going to, it's not going to come out of that. So my overall advice from this video is when people use the term top shelf and top producer, you know, best stud in the game, whatever the fuck they say, look into how the dog is bred and really analyze how it's bred and look at the pedigree, see, you know, how many dogs have died in that pedigree. From what? How many dogs in that pedigree can produce, even somewhat. Like say they, you know, you recognize a dog and it's produced, you know, 4 or 5 champions or, you know, whatever the case is. Okay, that dog can produce a little bit. You know, then you go, you know, further back, see where all the origins come from. See if it has the old school Michelin's blood in it. Look if it has the old Gotti line, the Remy line, old school Razor's Edge. And go back and see how that dog lines up with your dog before, you know, making yourself, you know, spend money that's not worth spending at that time. Maybe it's not the right time to breed to that stud that you want to breed to. There's, you know, foundations, there's steps that you got to do to get the right female or male to take to a certain dog. So keep that in mind. And like I said, I mentioned some names in this. But, you know, I talked to Bashar, I talked to Robert Lee a little bit. Got nothing bad to say about them. They've, you know, carried this breed a long way. Especially Bashar with the muscle tone. I mean, it's, you know, no one's ever going to top that guy. So you can try, but he's so far ahead and people can't comprehend. You're never going to get to that level. I mean, shoot for the stars, but I mean, you ain't going to get there. And Robert Lee, I mean, like I said, I haven't really heard nothing about him when it comes to breeding dogs in the past few years, but if he's getting back into it, I mean, I'm looking forward to see what he produces, especially with his knowledge and the newer style blood and newer style dog, and see how he does it. Like I said, I pay attention still. I'm not real active in the media too much, but I will be still making content on here from just someone looking from the outside in and, you know, seeing the same bullshit. And, you know, I will be dropping more content over the next few months or so, here and there. Try to do like at least 2-3 videos a month. So stay tuned in. If there's anything you guys want me to address or talk about, or if you need advice or anything, just hit me up. IG, Facebook, or TikTok at Cinema Bullies NJ. And hope this video helped you guys out, and I hope to hear from some people. All right, thanks guys. Take care. Later.